We started out with 2,400 cheeses, we narrowed it down to 120 gold medal winners, and now we're down to the final 15. One of those is going to be crowned the supreme champion cheese of the world, the best in the world. So amazingly, it's come down to 4 cheeses tied on the same number of votes out of the 15. It's a Centre-Lalou from Canada, a Gruyère from Switzerland, Piemonton from Tenerife, and a Fond d'Ambert from France. Our judges, we had 144. We're now down to a final tasting panel of 12 judges. Let's find out who they are. Louis Aird of Saputo, cheese producers in Canada. Stefano Cuomo of Italian stock, but now runs a farm shop in Kent. Davina Allen of Ballymaloe in Munster. Victoria Arreste of Idiazabal in the Basque Country. Cobus Mulder, the organiser of the South African and East African cheese festivals. Kevin Sheridan of Sheridan's Cheese Retailers in Dublin. Steve Monkley of the Royal Garden Hotel and the Craft Guild of Chefs. Glyn Christian, food writer and broadcaster. Anthony Worrell Thompson, restaurateur and presenter of Saturday Cooks and Daily Cooks Challenge. Charlie Turnbull of Turnbulls of Shaftesbury in Dorset. Mark Hicks, restaurateur, writer and newspaper columnist. Nigel Barden, BBC food and drink broadcaster. But Stefano, that was your favourite. What was it that really excited you?
We'll just start with, I'm not sure that it's beautiful, yeah, but for me, food, yeah, it starts with your eyes. Yeah? So before you actually taste it, you're starting to look at it and it looks interesting. You're not quite sure what's on the outside, sort of rusty colour. And in fact, it does. Yeah, a bit of chocolate in there. The minute we open it up, I had a taste of it. It has almost cocoa, but sweet, yeah? Idea of the kitchen cupboard, and it's got that chocolatiness that comes through, slightly dry texture, but fantastic flavour that follows on through to the end, and it's unusual.
When we've been tasting so much cheese, and you really don't want to taste a lot of the cheese the second time, but I kept sort of going back and having another little nibble like you sort of do with peanuts or something. Not that it tastes like peanuts, but it's sort of moreish.
You can see it's sat in some sort of liquor that sort of absorbed those flavours. This, it gives flavours that you don't expect a cheese to give, and I think that's the beauty of cheeses made like this. That it's been wrapped, I assume, in something like pimento, be Southern Europeanese cheese, but it gives these almost chocolatey notes that you don't naturally expect to come from a dairy product. Yeah, it's a cheese, but it's got these lovely other flavours coming out aside from that.
If you were to balance a cheese board and put that with various other cheeses, often a blue and things, it's got a lovely balance. It would really, people would talk about that cheese, said, what is it? Because it's delicious.
I mean, it is an interesting cheese, but it's incredibly dry in the mouth. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking I need a glass of wine.
It's a nibbling cheese, it's good with red wine, it's great in a salad, but what do our judges think of cheese number 8? Now, I'm a little biased here because I proposed this one. I think this is a gorgeous cheese. There's not much of it left, so popular as it's been, but it's beautifully creamy. There's a little bit of acidity there. It's got a lovely ash coat to it, and I just think it's a marvellously, beautifully well-rounded cheese. Would the other judges agree with me? Cobus, would that excite your South African palate?
Yes, I think so, because that little cheese is probably not older than 3 weeks, like I said earlier, and it's perfectly balanced. If you take the saltiness, the creaminess, and the acidity in that cheese, it's in perfect harmony. And talk about Moorish, that's Moorish. And as for the appearance, the ash and the mold, the candidum, it's just beautiful as far as I'm concerned.
Fresh, moist, perfect combination, the rind and the paste of the cheese. Just well balanced everywhere. Beautiful.
Beautiful cheese, not perfect, it's just really, really well balanced, brought together, and it's very difficult to make a cheese like that. That's come together so well. There's no bitterness in this rind. Usually in a cheese like this you often get separation of the rind away from the cheese, but it's come together lovely.
I don't find there's a great deal of flavour there and a great deal of taste to last. So, nice cheese, but there are better. We've seen better today.
This is the first cheese today that we've tasted in this category, one of those semi-soft, well-made cheeses with a good mould around it. I just think it's a great cheese, and I think also actually it's one of those cheeses that you can probably keep at home and mature a little bit, and you get a bit more flavour out of it. But I think, on a cheese board, this, in amongst some of the other cheeses we tasted, I think is great.
So, cheese 10, this beautiful, rounded, gorgeous, honeyed, succulent, as championed by me, Nigel Barden. There you go, 5. Cheese number 11. Victoria, you got very excited about that.
Yeah, well, I think it's a big impact in your mouth when you put it in it. And then it's very well balanced. At the same time, it's moist and creamy, apart from the impact you have, but it's just creamy. And especially I like it, this nuts flavor, which is persistent, very persistent afterwards in your mouth, still for a while. That's what I like it.
It's a lovely everyday cheese, and it is really good, but it's not outstanding like some of the other cheeses we already tried that have got a real character that jumps out and bites you. That's excellent. What it has got that I do enjoy is a crackle that runs along. It gives you texture in the mouth that perhaps we're missing in some of the other cheeses. When I say crackle, it's there all the time, so you've got flavour and you've got this feeling in the mouth that works really well together. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
And I think it has a great flavor. It's something that doesn't burn when it's come back in your mouth, so that's a good sign. You have a good sign of nuts and butter mixed together. I think it's good, and it should be good for grating too. It should be something very exceptional.
That is a fantastically beautiful cheese. I haven't had a piece for a minute, 2 or 3 minutes, still tasting it in the mouth. The richness is stunning, the nuttiness is to die for. That's a classic.
I do think it's a lovely cheese. I wouldn't go quite overboard as Charlie does, but then that's Charlie for you. But I mean, I do think it's got a lasting taste, and it's rounded, it's balanced, and I like it.
Glyn, are you jumping overboard?
Yes, I am a bit, because it reminds me of how fudgy and sweet and unbalanced a lot of the cheeses we've tasted have been a bit the same, as has been pointed out. But this, it's related, but it's just a world of its own. I think the flavour is almost ethereal.
So let's find out about cheese number 11, Victoria's ethereal little number. Steve Monkley, your face lit up like an excited cherub when you tried this cheese. What is it about it that you really, well, it puts that glow on your face?
Well, you know what they say about saving the best till last? Well, that's what we've done. With this cheese, you've got everything that you want in a cheese. It's got a lovely flavour to it, the texture, the complexities. The actual blue is not too overpowering, so when you're in your mouth, it's creamy. It's got just that, it's a glow, as you say. On a biscuit, it's not giving you any of them aftertastes that some blues do. It's not giving you any of that acidity, stringentness in the back of the mouth. And you can, as you can see from the lovely quality of this cheese, it's ripe just now.
It is a wonderful cheese, and every time I eat this, I'm astonished at the texture. When I had my shop, this is the cheese that converted people to blue cheeses. It is one of the classics. It has been for a long time, still is, and I suspect it might be the champion.
I think it's a lovely cheese, but I'm not sure if it's a winner.
Yeah,
I mean,
but you cook with it.
I would cook with it. Yeah, I do cook with it. I do. I did a lovely dish with roast shallots with it the other day, and it was delicious. But the trouble is with blue, they've got to be quite distinct, and I don't think that's distinct.
I think it's probably long in bite, but short in complexity.
I think the blue is there. It's gentle. It's not overpowering. It's well spread. The body and texture of that cheese is almost as perfect as what you want a blue cheese to be.
The judges seem to have got pretty excited about it. Will that be represented in the voting? So amazingly, it's come down to 4 cheeses tied on the same number of votes out of the 15. It's a Saint-André from Canada, a Gruyère from Switzerland, Piemonton from Tenerife, and a Fond d'Ambert from France. So we're going to put it to a sealed bid to the judges to decide. So Glyn, how exciting was that? It came down to 4 cheeses. France, Tenerife, Canada and Switzerland. We all had to vote on that, the panel. But put me out of my misery. Who is the supreme champion? Who's won it? What's the best cheese in the world?
Well, it's a cheese from a country that's really been punching above its weight for, well, maybe 9 years. It should have won before. This year it has. This is the cheese made in Tenerife in the Canary Islands. A fantastic goat's milk cheese, a pressed cheese, and it's aged and matured in a way which no other cheese in the world is. There's like a flour of grains is made and put onto it, and then paprika, pimento, and olive oil. And every month they change that. This is about 6 months old. You tasted it. What did you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was brilliant. I loved that grainy, almost slightly salty texture, and it was
nutty. And I don't usually like goat's cheese, but this was really something. And how amazing is it that it's from
the Gran Canaria?
Because
next year, the World Cheese Awards are taking place in Gran Canaria, so that's where we're going to be.
See you there, 2009.